Good evening and welcome once again to All for United WFC. We are back and nearly, very close, nearly back at Wembley once again. We're one step away, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. We might have a little squint ahead as we get towards the end of the show. But for now, do not adjust your television set. Connor has not gone all Britney Spears and taken all of his hair off. That's not what's happened. I'm afraid you got put up with me this evening, but we did decide to go out and get three magnificent people to talk all things Manchester United against Sunderland. So let's just run round and say hello to everyone. We'll start off with Madam Kerris there, just below me. How are you doing?
I'm good, Barry. I had my afternoon derailed by City sacking their manager, which was very inconsiderate of them because I was supposed to be doing uni work and instead I had to do journalism work. But I suppose it wasn't really me they were thinking about, so it's understandable at the end of the day.
And of course, a belated Happy International Women's Day for you from Saturday. Was you suitably showered with gifts and affection on the one day that it's acceptable to be a woman, apparently? Was you suitably celebrated, Kerris?
I watched us win, so that was helpful. And I didn't work on my dissertation. So I'm not sure whether that was me being a good feminist or me being a bad feminist by jeopardising my degree. But we'll see.
Sounds a bit like Christmas, so that's amazing. And of course, we have got Charlie. Same thing to you. Happy International Women's Day, belated for you. I hope you were suitably celebrated as well. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I didn't even know it was International Women's Day.
Well, there we go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't even know it was International Women's Day. Was it? Oh. All right. Okay. Well, good. Well done. Yeah. Hello. Good to be back. I'm sorry. I was too busy looking at Emily's comment saying she wants a Liverpool United final. That would be colossal. That's what caught me off guard because I was looking at that comment like, yes, that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that you managed to miss it because it was literally everywhere. But yes, that's what we said. International Women's Day. Never mind. And Andrew, I can't wish you a happy International Women's Day because it's not your day, sunshine. But how were you? Everything been all right?
Yeah, so just recovering after a long weekend of being up and down the motorway, so following the women's and the men. So good result from Saturday, and the semi-finals, here we come.
It's a busy old weekend, that is for absolutely sure. So there we go. Everybody's okay. All is nearly 30 years since the Spice Boys final. I shall never forget those suits. They were absolutely unreal. Right. Anyway, enough about them. We are here to celebrate the joyous moment of Manchester United reaching yet again another semi-final. And John, we're going to do our very best, but I can't lie to you, mate. The vast majority of today is going to be about this game. So I wish you the very best of luck as you navigate the gauntlet. We'll kick off with Kerris. We'll talk first of all, obviously, about the team. As Connor mentioned on Friday, we're not going to spend ages in here talking. And by ages, I mean literally zero time talking about Jays in general. She wasn't in the team. She wasn't in the squad. Clearly, things are developing. And as and when things are actually finalised and we know what in the blue blazes is going on, we'll have a conversation about it. But until such moment, I think it's best that we just let all parties do what they need to do. So with that in mind, we look back at the team. Were you surprised at all by the squad that was announced this weekend?
Not really, because there wasn't that many changes we could have made. I think the only change that I thought we would see, if we would see a change, was probably Rachel coming in and starting at the top instead of Melvine. That obviously didn't happen. Obviously, it happened later on in the game. So the only change was Hinnie in for Dom. Did surprise me a bit that it was that change that we made. It didn't surprise me that we didn't rotate more, which is usually what we tend to talk about with with these sort of games in the FA Cup because there wasn't much we could have rotated. But I was quite surprised seeing Hinny like playing in that sixth role, just because I think she's been so good further up pitch. And I thought that she did well, but on Saturday, but I thought she was much more limited in that role. I thought we lacked her influence in the middle of the pitch a bit. My major complaint, Connor will tell you, I was banging on about it the whole second half. He must have been so glad that we came to stand with him in the second half so he could listen to me whine the entire time about how we weren't being direct enough and we weren't going through the middle. And I attribute that a little bit to Hinny kind of not being up there in the mix because she's so good at using those pockets instead of going wide every single time. That was a bit of a tangent, but no, I was a bit surprised by the change we made, but I wasn't that surprised that we didn't make many changes.
I think that is pretty much how I was feeling, to be honest with you. It didn't have too much of a change. Charlie, obviously, Keris has spoken a bit there about some of the changes. Aoife Mannion, I suppose, was kind of expected to be the right back, even if Jade was in contention to be playing again. Was this really the game that you want to put her back for? Ultimately, of all of the quarterfinal matches that there was, kind of made sense that, you know, we had the, dare I say, the easiest draw insofar as having a championship side. So kind of made sense we might go Aoife at right back. But were you surprised with the midfield decision?
Not massively, no. If you're gonna play that 3, that's probably the way you've got to play it. Because I think Clinton isn't disciplined enough, I would say, to sit there and play in front of the back 4. Whereas Miyazawa can be disciplined and will do the role we need to do. And it's not for Toone, is it? You don't want Toone shooting on the back 4, absolute carnage when she's hacking everyone down for fun. I also think, was it a game or 2 ago that it looked like Janssen was hobbling a bit and struggling? I feel like we had a conversation about her. I think she was subbed off, so maybe it was just keeping an eye on her. And I will always want Anna Sambo to get more minutes than she's getting. I know she was ill last week. It was just a sickness bug, wasn't it? And maybe just easing her in after that. But yeah, there's not many changes. Like, I think often people will refer to the goalkeeper, but I think Rendell is cup tied, isn't she? I'm fairly certain she's cup tied. Is that right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Or was she on the subs bench? I don't know, actually. I can't remember.
Who are we saying?
Kyla, the new keeper.
Oh, Kayla, I think she's cup tied, yeah, because I think wasn't like the first
you should
game.
say that. I suggested she was cup tied. Apparently she's not.
Oh, she's not. That's maybe
to be fair, it's possible she hadn't played for Southampton in the cup.
Maybe in the Conti Cup she would have been, perhaps. Maybe that's why.
Yes, that was it. She was cup tied for City, I think. Not that.
Yeah, that's the one for me. But it's been a bit odd with her from the offset anyway, hasn't it? Really, I think Saf really struggled. I think Saf struggled majorly when we played Newcastle, so I think that was not a risk worth taking. But yeah, there weren't too many options really with the injuries we've got here or there. But again, you maybe would like to see if we'd been a couple more goals to the good, you might have liked to have seen a couple of the younger ones come on. But it was a little bit hairy at times, mostly of our own making. So yeah, not surprised by it. But I agree with Keris, the midfield doesn't work so well when Miyazawa is sort of trying to anchor that midfield 3. It doesn't work so well. She still does a good job. Like, you didn't notice her because she did her job well. But I think you're right in the fact that we missed her creativity and her tenacity in the middle of the park, perhaps.
Fair enough. I think nothing I would disagree with thus far. Andrew, anything that you would add with regards to the lineup and perhaps even with the attacking 3? Were you quite happy with the attacking triumvirate of Bizet, Melvin and Leah?
Yeah, I was happy with that. I thought Skinner would choose a strong side anyway. He has done throughout the FA Cup rounds, and so we want to retain that cup again. So let's go strong for it. So saying about the goalkeeper, that was probably the one area I thought, would he put Kayla in or not? But as it was going to be Fallon, I just thought, well, that's meaning no more. We can't see Kayla or Saf getting any more minutes this season, so it's Fallon for the rest of the season. That was the only thing. But yeah, that front 3, I thought strong enough, Galton and Bizet on the each wing, getting those crosses in. So it was feeding Mallard as well. So just felt like, after we scored like the first goal, it was like it all slowed down a little bit, and I'm just like, we could, press a bit more and more, and just like, just seemed to be like slow in patches. I'm thinking, we could have these, but credit to Sunderland, they were in like a constant state of defence, but they were doing great work at it and were trying to spring on us when they did get the ball as well. But yeah, it was the lineup I expected from Skinner. So
this is never going to get old.
yeah.
It's the International Space Station. Aliens on the asteroid.
No, such news, isn't it? Still looking for it.
The sad thing is when they say it, I can see it, but it's only when it's brought up that I think about it. It's quite a thing. But there we go. Right, so quite content with the teams, quite pleased with how they set up, and a very early goal. Now, I'm pleased that we scored it within the first 10 minutes because it's clearly absolutely annoyed Connor, and anything that annoys Connor, I generally tend to find, if not mildly humorous, absolutely hilarious. And that's what we've got there. So we decided to score the opening 10 minutes in this game, not the week before when we had the stat. But you did say that it gives them a chance to start again and have another go. So maybe that's what we're going to do, Condog. But, Keris, very interesting goal that I tweeted it. I feel really sorry for Sunderland, like really sorry, because Aoife Mannion blatantly kicks the ball across the line, so it should have been a Sunderland throw-in. I went back over it at least 10 times to try and see if there was any chance that the Sunderland player got their foot to it. They didn't. They were absolutely gobsmacked. The throw-in gets given to us. Now, obviously, we did have to go around the houses and play it around a bit for about 30 seconds. It wasn't straight from the throw-in, but it hadn't gone out from when that started. So, in the end, gets down the right for Bizet and a nice little cross for Leah Galton, an excellent goal, but I couldn't celebrate that goal. I just had to sit there and go, they're going to be gutted about that. Number one, were you at all gutted for Sunderland that was how it started? And number two, why do you think it wasn't given as a throw-in?
I mean, it's a shame for them, obviously, but my sympathy's always kind of limited, a little bit like a different situation, a little bit like all the Arsenal fans who are on Twitter today complaining about an extra 1.2 yards on a free kick wall. You have the rest of the 90. If a call like that goes against you, if it's, the ball, the throw-in's not given your way, the wall's slightly further back, granted, it's annoying. That's what the rest of the 90 minutes are there for. So I've pretty limited sympathy, to be honest. I think we deserved the goal. It wasn't as if it was, say, for instance, we'd been given a corner when the ball hadn't gone out and we headed it in from the corner. We had to play it around a fair bit. But it's obviously disappointing for them because it knocks their momentum as to why it wasn't given. Why do a lot of things in women's football not get given? It's a standard, officials, all officials will have moments where they miss things. As we were saying kind of last weekend with the handball that wasn't given for us against Leicester. But again, we were limited in terms of how much we could complain about that because we used the rest of the 90 minutes to win the game. So yeah, it's a shame for them, but I thought it paid off. It paid off kind of our dominance, basically. It was pretty much expected. They will have been annoyed to concede it like that, but I don't think they can have too many complaints about the outcome of the game.
No, I think at the end of the 90 minutes, there was only one team that really deserved to win it. You're absolutely fair and true there, but when you're 7 minutes in and you've come in with a game plan, and then obviously, Charlie, 7 minutes in, that game plan is entirely undone. And yes, through some fault of your own, because they did have opportunities to clear it and deal with it. But again, a little bit of a dodgy decision. What did you make of that goal? Because again, a brilliant assist from Bizet and Leah Galton. She just, I think massively underrated. Always on this channel, but there she is, straight in, heads it in perfectly into the corner.
Yes, some people are cross at her at the moment, aren't they? I'm not sure why. Each their own. But again, it wasn't a game decider, was it? Like, we used to poor decisions, we've on the end of genuinely a lot of them. And also, I know it's the women's football show, but it's at least 10 yards actually is the wording of it. And they were at least 10 yards, so all is fine. But funny one for me, I think Bizet had a funny night. I don't know if Andrew and Keris, if you felt like it as well, but it felt like at times, like, she got 2 assists. So I'm going to sound mental here, but sometimes she was a little bit frustrating at times, and I felt like faffing around at times with the ball when she could have been a little bit more direct. I think someone talked to us, might be you said you were talking to Con about a lack of directness, just not taking the fullbacks on who were there for the taking, really, which again is crazy. She got 2 assists, so she's come away and she's done her job, I suppose. But I do think we were a little bit slow against them. But yeah, it was the first of a hat-trick of headers, wasn't it? And it was a really well taken one. It was an easy header for her. She wasn't being challenged. No Sunderland player had picked her up, and it was not like she made a last-second run into the box. Like, she was stood there for quite a while. So yeah, in spite of their irritation about the throw-in, there was lots of opportunities for them to snuff that opportunity out, that chance out, and they didn't. And there wasn't inevitability about it. And apart from their dodgy goal, they didn't really create much else, did they? It was a one-sided game. Even if we were a little bit lackluster, it was very much a one-sided game.
It really was. Andrew, again, anything for you to add really in terms of the goal?
I was going to say, we started aggressively and literally were forcing Sunderland back into their own half. So and our efforts paid off. So it's a great cross by Bizet, and Leah Galton, as she does with all goals, seems to be falling down, trying to score for us. So she aimed her header perfectly into the corner. So non-Sunderland, even though they conceded an early goal, they kept their heads up. They didn't, the heads never went down. It's like, oh, we conceded early, but any mistake we were making thereafter was they were trying to, pounce on and have a potential counter as well. So we were pretty much in control after we scored, but it just seemed to slow down a bit. I just thought, Sunderland were holding their lines well and defending really well. We couldn't. It took us a while for us to get that second goal. So I agree with Charlie on Bizet, especially in the second half. I was getting more and more frustrated. I was like, you can take on the Sunderland defender and get past him and across. She just kept passing back. But some of the times I was like, the aim is to go and score a goal, not keep passing it back and side to side. So yeah, Bizet, good game, but frustrating in parts.
It was an incredibly frustrating game at parts. You are not wrong. And I mean, again, Keris, just looking at that a little bit with the first half, you would think, having got a go after 7 minutes, we would go on from that. And you're expecting a cricket score, maybe not quite as much as 6-0 or 5-0, but you're expecting 2, 3, 4 to come reasonably quickly. It didn't happen. Melvin Mallard hit the bar. Bizet stuck the ball over. Leah Galton assisted both of those. I thought Leah was quite impressive with her forward play on Saturday. But why do you think it was that we took literally until almost the last kick of the first half in order to increase the lead?
I think we weren't running the channels. So every single time that we got the ball, it was there's nothing wrong, stick it out to the winger or the fullback, cross it in, get a strike to head it in. That works. And to be fair, I feel like a numpty criticising that strategy where it's literally where all 3 of our goals came from. But I just think we could have been so much more direct. I think against Leicester, granted last week, Leicester made it quite easy for us to pass through them, as I said on the show last week. But we scored both of our goals by sort of just passing through the middle of the pitch, exploiting the spaces. I think having Hinney in that sort of further forward role would have helped us exploit the pockets more. I thought actually think Aoife Mannion played well, but I do agree that the right side doesn't look quite as balanced with Celine, with her there. We have this sort of situation where they're just not quite as in tune with each other yet. I don't think like where Jade would make an overlapping run or vice versa on Celine, they have that understanding. I don't know that Aoife necessarily is settled into it as much, which is to be expected when she's not playing as much. But I thought the right side looked a bit less balanced. I thought we could have used the channels more, especially because Sunderland, I admired, obviously we dominated possession, but I admired the fact that they went after us, I think, a bit more than West Brom or than Wolves did. I think they clearly had looked at the last two FA Cup games and had said, right, well, they've conceded 13 goals between them by sitting in a low block, so we're not going to sit in a low block. And I rate them for that. I thought it was a good decision, and I thought it was why we had more of a challenge from them than we have either of those two sides. But that meant there was more space, I think, that we could have exploited. So I just think we could have, I think maybe we were expecting a slightly different game to what we got. Maybe we might have been expecting a bit less space in the middle, and then we got ourselves into the state of mind of we're going to have to use the wings for everything. And I actually think that after a while we should have adapted and thought, this isn't actually working, we're not having a breakthrough like this. We should switch, we should try something else, but we sort of didn't do that. It wasn't very adaptable.
No, I think, again, you're quite right. We definitely could have taken a little bit more advantage than we did. So, player of the match poll is up. There's been a manner of debate amongst the panel. Well, most of the panel. One of them just couldn't be bothered. We'll find out what she thinks later on. But we have had a little bit of consolation insofar as we had 5 names, and the first 3 people that were asked to drop one all picked different players. But thankfully, somebody came in and agreed with one of us. So we have dropped one, and I'm not going to tell you who that is just yet, but you might work it out. So your options are Leah Goulton, Mailer, Tissier, Hinney, and Muzzy Visit. So if you could make sure that you have clicked it on YouTube, make your decision. Who is your player of the match? It will keep Connor very happy. I don't care. If you choose not to vote for a player, feel free. But Connor will be very upset. So, yeah, the rest of you, make sure you're looking just in case. Charlie, Melvin Mallard hit the bar again. If we were able to get goals for narrowly missing, hitting the woodwork, that sort of thing, she'd be on about 16, I reckon, so far this season. She's got herself into some really good positions. It's just not quite working out for her when she has these little snapshots. Why do you think that is?
She said, didn't she, like a week or so ago, that she was feeling a bit of pressure? I think coming in as well with Turlin being out injured, hopefully she'll be back soon. She's found it difficult, and she even said herself she was snapping at things. That's why I think it was right that she played. I know there could have been a bit of rotation with one of the young ones coming in or with Rachel Williams, but I think it was right that he gave her more minutes, because she's been very in and out of the side and often not coming in as the forward, as the striker. So she's almost playing, I know it's not a new position for her, but it's a new position for her as a Manchester United player. And she's quite a different, I think she's quite a different player to Turland in lots of ways. So it's about sort of working together and recreating the correct link-up play for her. And I'm sure once they get it right, Turland will be back in, and then she'll be shunted out to the wing again potentially. Which again might be lots of people chatting about. Sort of the left side seems to be a little bit lethargic at times. We've got to remember that Mallard's been coming in for the last 20-30 minutes of games and occupying the left-hand side of the pitch for us, and she's having to play as the number 9, which then sort of reduces the number of options we've got with regards to making changes there as well. But I think you just persevere with her. I think she's a massive talent. She's very young. She had a season where I'm sure, I don't think I'm plucking this out of thin air, but didn't she have a season just before she came to us where she scored 20 goals for Lyon or something? Have I made that up, Keris? I feel like I haven't. I feel like it's something that Connor will have said. I've heard Connor say. So
I don't know. Connor's in the chat. Ask him.
Oh, Connor.
Connor
Didn't Mallard have a season where she scored that many for Lyon, which I think is why we were surprised that they loaned her to us in the first place, and then that we got to keep her. So I would just persist with her. She's such a talent. She's young. She's ours now. And yeah, it's a shame she's snatching at things. She got a goal last week. We won the game, and it's not a bit like Turland when she went through sort of a patch where she wasn't scoring. So 17 goals. There we go. I rounded it up to the nearest 10. She contributes in other ways. So as long as the team is scoring and putting in a performance, I don't think all the onus has to be on whether the striker's scoring, if you know what I mean. I just love her. I'm a massive Melvine fan.
Oh, listen, it's not a negative. She's getting herself in those positions. It's just that must be frustrating for her as well. You know, we know that she's got the quality. We've seen her do it. But yeah, it's just these sort of the snapshots, I think, more than anything, that are not quite going where she'd want them to. Another person, Andrew, as we said in that first half, had an opportunity. And I feel like the first half was the better opportunities. The second half wasn't quite as clear cut. But it was, of course, Celine Bizet. Now, we all just take a moment because finally I noticed it has happened. It took probably the longest amount of time in the history of the world to finally.
I know exactly what Barry's about to say.
The goal for the hat trick that we all spotted within 30 seconds of watching one clip, but it's gone everywhere it needed to go. The Court of Arbitration, the European Court of Human Rights, in front of the Supreme Court. It's been in front of every religious leader. Everybody has looked at it. They've all agreed that it was definitely Bizet's goal. So she gets the hat trick. Unlucky Rach. Sorry about that. But, you know, you didn't score. So that's great news. But she didn't score, even though she had 2 great assists, Andrew. Why is it, do you think, that we weren't as clinical in this game as we have been in our previous 2 FA Cup matches?
I don't know, is it more credit to Sunderland the way they defended, even though we were pushing them right back in their own half? Is it credit to them? They defended really well, and so just getting more frustrating throughout the first half. It was just like, even though, you know, we're keeping up, trying to keep up the pressure, it's almost like the energy, and, you know, dipped a little bit from them, and it's just like we're trying to get this, you know, second goal, which is not coming for some reason. And just like something like United then found, you know, to resume their high press, you know, we were rewarded for that second goal. But just seeing like other games where we have started with one, we've been like 2-3 up, and it was like then we slow down in the second half. So it's just like something like a bit of the reverse. But yeah, it was just maybe just on the day, it was just like nothing was. We weren't going to get that flood of goals in the first half.
Do you not think as well though? Like, I think Coach is right. Sunderland of the 3 like non-WSL sides we played, Sunderland were the most compact. They set up in the best way to make it difficult for us. But even against Wolves and West Brom, it was almost like a glut of goals, wasn't it? In the last 10 or 15 minutes of those games, it wasn't like we were scoring bags of goals early on in the game. And I do think there is something in, and we've touched upon it a few times with sort of slow build-up play, midfielders maybe holding on to the ball too long, in our humble opinions as non-professional footballers or coaches, and the wingers not putting the ball in at the first opportunity. That, I think that can make it more difficult for the forward, because we saw it, didn't we, with like it's been up with Dallo and Hoyland against Real Sociedad. If you don't pass it at the perfect moment, it becomes really difficult. So Mallard will get herself into these positions, but then the ball might not come, or it comes too late, and then she's got 1 or 2 defenders on her, or she's gone for the ball early and the pass comes a second, or the cross comes 2 or 3 seconds because the wingers sort of drag back and then or try to go around the fullback again before knocking it in, and then the moment's kind of gone. I think the chance where it hit the bar, that was her, wasn't it? I think she did the best she could. I think it was a really awkward chance, that one. But I think just against Sunderland, we were just a bit slow to do things, and if we played the ball around a little bit quicker, when it would have provided more space and more opportunity for Mallard to maybe put the ball away, because she's trying to react to what's happening on the pitch, isn't she? And if play's being slowed down and the crosses aren't going in quickly, which is what you're looking for, it does make it more difficult. So you could also look at it from that point of view as well. Like if they were putting monumental balls in all the time, and she just wasn't reacting to them, I'd be more worried then, I think.
I was going to say, well, during the 90 minutes, you can't play a fast pace all 90 minutes. There's points where you have to slow down. Like, say, no team can. You can play heavy metal football. You can't play it, constantly. So it's just like there's points in the game where, conserve that energy and then, work the ball around and keep. As long as you're keeping the ball and keeping the opposition away from you, then we just. Then pick the pace up again and then start getting those balls into the box. And say, like, I'm sure she said as well, she's been speaking to Andy Cole as well, getting some advice and, like, because even when he first came to United, I don't think he scored in so many games. And he said, once you get that goal, it will come. And then, like I say, he started firing, like for Melvin, just like get a few goals and then she'll be firing. But as I say, when Turling comes back, it's probably likely Melvin will go out to the wing as well. And I just think, so two different players, Turling and Mallard, she'll get on the ball and she'll drive the ball at the player and take the opposition on. Whereas Turling, she's more likes to be off the shoulder, so she's waiting for the ball to come in. But say, like with Hoyland as well, if the service is not coming, it's like you can make these runs and you're being left frustrated, and like then you try different things, and then if that's not working, then that first half is felt like we should have scored more, but credit to Sunderland, I think, on that one.
Well, we did score just before half time. Made a Tissier heading in from a corner, was taken by Gabby George, but Kerris, talk to us a little bit about that goal, but also the weird fact that there were two people stood over that corner. So Gabby George was stood there ready to take a corner, and Ella Toone was stood with her, which I don't think I've ever seen two people stand at the corner flag ready to take a corner before.
Yeah, so we did this again. We did this again in like the second half because it was right in front of us where we were in Southstand. I can't remember who it was now. I think it might have been Toone and Anna Sandberg were both stood over it. Yeah, I do not understand it. I genuinely don't, because I think unless you're going to make a meaningful sort of dummy or one of you's going to run off and provide a short option, I think all you're doing is taking a player out of the box. But this maybe is why I'm just a reporter and not a coach or a player. But I don't get it. Is my expert analytical take. I don't get why that was. But yeah, I mean, it was a great corner. Great corner and really well timed, really well timed run from Maya. Again, I think she just spotted the space really well. I think our corners were clearly a strong point, and crosses were clearly a strong point. But what was good to see, I think, mostly was just her getting the chance to get up and get involved, because I think she has been quietly brilliant recently. So to have her just sort of get her name on the score sheet is a really nice change. I think she deserved it. But yeah, I mean, the two people stood over a corner thing I don't get, because someone just said maybe you're taking a defender out of the box. I don't remember any of their defenders leaving the box, because we did the same thing twice, and so when we did it again, their defenders were just like, yeah, we're not going to follow them, because we've seen this before. They just, both of them stand there and one of them takes the free kick and the other one stands next to them. So it was a weird one. But clearly whatever we're doing kind of with corners on the training ground at the moment looks like it's paying off. But yeah, I do not understand that.
No, I mean, it's an interesting idea, interesting thought, but like you say, unless you're going to actually build on that and start having, like you say, a dummy or one of the running off.
Like, I don't mind. Try fancy things and training ground things with corners and set pieces. I've no problem with that. But what I don't like from any team, this isn't me being kind of vindictive and picky towards us, I don't like with any team when it feels like they're just doing it for sort of the sake of it, because it wasn't immediately evident to me what the reasoning behind it was. It wasn't pulling a defender out of the box. We weren't doing a dummy. We weren't doing a short corners. I didn't get it.
I mean, Charlie, I suppose if you were to try and go down the coaching route on that, it's pointing out they don't know whether to set up for an in-swinger or an out-swinger. And that would really be the only thing that I can think of that offers any uncertainty about it. So you maybe don't quite have the right setup for it. You're not sure who's going to take it. If you'd have had to bet your worldly goods on who was taking that corner, would you have gone for Gabby or would you have gone for Ella?
Oh my gosh, my world on it. Is that what you said?
Your worldly goods. Your worldly goods. Crikey. It's not that deep.
I hadn't even thought about it, if I'm being honest. I hadn't realised how weird it was until Keris just spoke about it, because when it happened right in front of me, I was like, oh, they're both very close to the fans. Gabby George, probably. I don't know. We've not got like a standard set piece taker this year, have we? So it literally could have been anyone. I wouldn't have been surprised if anyone had gone and stood there and taken it. But I was expecting just a quick roll of the ball forward from one of them, and then almost like an onrushing sort of crossing from open play then. It didn't happen. But yeah, good goal from Maya. Sort of appeared to pop up out of nowhere, because she's normally right in amongst it, isn't she? But she sort of appeared out of nowhere. And that might be third or fourth goal for her this season, which is nice. We sent her back to scoring a few goals. That's good to see. She's been brilliant, hasn't she, Maya? She's been absolutely amazing. I think this season one of our best players. So yeah, nice to see her get on the score sheet. Yeah, very odd. Very, very odd thing to do, actually, that, isn't it? Because if
I've never seen it before.
Because also, if you caught on the counter, someone's having to go the long way round, aren't they? Someone's having to go the hypotenuse way round to get back to into some sort of defensive shape. Yeah, very odd. What do the viewers think about that corner?
Well, there's lots of them coming up with it. They're not really saying a huge amount. They're all saying Javorna can think that Gabby's corners can be hit or miss, which I think can be true of anyone who takes a corner.
You can't underappreciate a good set piece play.
Listen, it's got people talking.
Some people would say it's a party trick. So people did say it was a party trick, weren't they? But it's not.
If we're sitting here talking about it, you can guarantee there's some talk going on around elsewhere. So maybe and we scored from it. So you can't go too far wrong. Andrew, anything you'd add on the goal?
Yes, it was a perfectly timed run from there. Just looking back on the goal, she literally shrugged off the Sunderland defender and just had that open space, just put her head on it. So it was a very flat trajectory of a corner from Gabby as well. So I thought it was going to do some form of short corner as well. But I suppose maybe that's it, to give Sunderland's defence a bit of confusion. Well, if, two players are standing on the corner, is it going to be something's going to be in swinging or out swinging? So it was just but I'd rather just have one set piece taken on the corner and say if Ella was standing out, so well, that's one attacker out of the box. So I was just but so it was a good corner. Maya timed it perfectly, and she's got her FA Cup goal, so even better.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different one. And do you know what? If it works out, it's not the end of the world, is it? Some people saying they prefer having numbers in the box, but there we go. But why? Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay. Do you know what he might be, Keris? There's beef going on at the moment out here. What's he said? I didn't even notice what he'd put.
Oh, he's just always, whenever he's not hosting, he's always, I assume it's because he's busy, and then he's always in the chat and it's like 2 pence, and I just find it so funny.
Yeah,
because when I don't come on show, it's because I'm busy. When he doesn't come on show, it's just because he wants to watch and add from the comment section.
By the time he gets himself onto it, it'll be too late. So, if we ever want to push the nuclear button on WFC, far too late. Here we go. Question. Gareth might have answered it for you, Connor, but as you're busy, Wiki says 60, but what do you say, Connor? How close is Toone to 70 goals for United? After half time, I think really I expected it to be comfortable, and it was for the most part. We made a trio of substitutions. Anna Sandberg came on for Gabby George. Dominic Janssen came on for Millie Turner, so it was a centre back rather than centre mid. And of course, Rachel Williams came on for Melvine Mallard. And those were the only 3 substitutions that were made for the entirety of the second half. It did lead up to a goal, but just kind of want a quick fire question for the 3 of you, because Siobhan's put here Anna should be starting more games. Gabby's 1 yellow away from suspension, so maybe we'll see what she can do in a full WSL match if Gabby gets another yellow. As it stands at this moment in time, you're picking the team for Liverpool on Friday. Do you go Gabby or do you go Anna?
Anna.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm kind of tempted to say Anna as well, but I don't know. I think she's got a better chance pace-wise of keeping up with Olivia Smith, but I also think you don't just need to keep up with Olivia Smith. You need to be able to kind of like occasionally stand her up as well. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Interesting. The crowd's got a couple of the crowd. Look at us. the viewers have got a couple of Gabbies and a go for Anna, but not against the top 3 side here from TJ. Andrew, who would you pick?
I would say Gabby. I'm just thinking, later on in the game, when the opposition's getting tired, you can bring Anna on. Let's say if Gabby does happen to get booked in that game, hopefully not, but then it gives Anna the opportunity then to come in. But I'd say it's that consistency with the defence, that lineup. So I just think Gabby for me.
Okay, fair enough. I honestly think I would pick Gabby as well, but how nice it is to have 2 left backs where we're actually sitting there. And I suppose it's a bit like when we had Honor and Jade. We were quite pleased about the fact that we had 2 right backs who it didn't really matter which played. Now we're in the same situation with our left backs. Back to the right back situation. Being right back's the new left back. Should be a new Netflix
Also,
show.
the very obvious point is I'm not 100% sure if Anna's fully fit or not. Obviously, she was ill, so I don't know if that comes into it as well.
Very true, very true. And the game passed really without much incident until the 70th minute. Now, at this point, I'll be honest, I was sitting there going, Mayla Tissier, probably my player of the match. I thought she was absolutely on it. Do you think, Charlie, that this spoiled her copybook at all? It was rather unlucky. Dominic Janssen beaten in the left back slot, I might add. This is after Anna Sandberg's come on. So Dominic Janssen is chasing towards the left back. And she's beaten. The ball comes in. Griffiths really no chance of getting it. Mayla Tissier smashes it against her legs. And it immediately goes into the goal. Fallon wasn't expecting it. I don't think Griffiths was expecting it. Maya certainly wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it. Exactly this, a complete freak goal. You just have to put that down to the gods, really, don't you?
Yeah. I think Fallon should be saving that. She didn't even try. No, she did actually, be fair. She got down really well, didn't she, for such a tall lady? She was really close to getting it. It's nice having a goalkeeper that dives to try and save things. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think it puts a dampener on it at all. It was just really unlucky. That's only about how much back over and over. Does she look up? Did she have time to take a touch? Maybe not. If she'd done that and then been tackled and then lost the ball, then you'd be saying she'd made a stupid decision. But even when that happened, it didn't really feel. I was only joking about Fallon, by the way, guys. Love Fallon, best GK in the whole wide Wizzy world. It's just one of those things, wasn't it? We against like a WSL side, you might feel a bit under threat. You might feel a bit nervous and anxious, but I didn't really. They didn't offer much apart from that. It was nice for them, wasn't it, to get a goal? But no, I don't think it put a slight on her performance, if I'm being honest.
It was nice for them, but it wasn't nice for us because it put us into, mild heart attack territory.
But
Because,
was it 2-1 when Leah Galton had a fight? Maybe it triggered that.
I think it was before.
I'm not sure.
Oh, was it?
No, was it? No. Yeah.
Fight. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, I saw that and I was like, oh, here we go. Fights and shoot.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I loved it when Mazraoui did it for Ugarte in the game the other week. I love that. Everyone piles in.
No, she was booked a bit before that, about 10 minutes before, so it was not related. But talk about the fight. Go on.
I just really loved it. I mean, I wouldn't be squaring up to a Mackham at 7 o'clock in an evening on a Friday. But yeah, I love a bit of that. Like, got the crowd. It was a little bit flat, mostly because the stewards were Mardy and kept making everyone sit down. But yeah, I love a little bit of argy bargy. It was likened to when Jonas Idavau tried to start on Martha Thomas, and everyone went and got stuck in.
It was a surprise, wasn't it? Because she doesn't normally react like that.
No. But did you see the tackle? The tackle's revolted. It's a really bad challenge, I think, and I think that's been overlooked as a result of what happened afterwards. But the challenge was dreadful from the Sunderland player. It was high. It was off the floor. It was reckless.
I will admit I haven't actually seen it back.
Really
from where we were, I didn't have a great view of it, but I assumed there must have been something a bit strange about it because, like you say, Leah never ever really tends to react.
No.
But yeah, weird one.
He was furious.
She really was. I mean, I haven't seen it back either, so I can't sit there and really add anything further with regards to Leah. But Keris, the goal for you, just a freak goal. We sitting there and going, please, you got one, Sunderland, or are you with Charlie? Do you think that Fallon should be saving that?
Don't really think that. Don't start reading.
And should immediately be replaced by Saki Middleton Patel.
I was stressed because I had been frustrated for a lot of the game that I didn't feel we were being as direct as we could. I didn't feel that we were, because what I wanted to see, to be fair, and sue me, I'm a sentimental Manchester United FA Cup fan. I wanted us to go I thought if we go 3 up, we can bring some of the kids on, right? That was what I thought. And I saw someone in the comments being like, oh, at least we didn't have to deal with everyone wanting to bring the kids on. I wanted to see them. I want to see our academy players play in the FA Cup. I don't think that's a super hot take as a United fan. So I think the people who will have been most annoyed to see that goal in will have been the 3 teenagers sat on the bench thinking, oh, if there was a chance of us coming on, that's just completely killed it. So I was disappointed in it from that point of view. I was a bit nervy just because, you can call it a fluke goal, but if you can score 1 fluke goal, you can score 2 fluke goals. And then we've got to play for another half an hour. And then we're tired and I miss my takeaway. And it's just all, it can be very difficult. So I was a bit nervy for a while, but, I don't think Sunderland threatened massively. I was not especially realistically worried that they were going to turn things around. I was United fan worried, where that it's Manchester United and we can throw away anything we set our minds to. More on the men's side than the women's, but still.
No, absolutely. I agree. Andrew, for you, anything in particular about the goal that...
I was going to say, Maggie couldn't do much about that. She was trying to clear it and then literally bounced off at Griffiths, and then Tully's Joyce did not see it coming. She got down and tried to save it, but literally it was in the goal before she even tried to get her hand on it. But it was just, some of them, they weren't getting away from their own half of most of the game, but they were very alert when they did counter us as well. And when Katie Watson got away from Janssen, it was a good pass into the box. But it was, looking back on the goal, I could see Anna Sandberg was tracking Griffiths as well, and she'd lost Griffiths, so maybe she could have tracked her better, but that was the only thing. But it's just one of those goals, just got to hold your hands up and just, yeah, it's just unfortunate to concede, but we stepped it up after that. So I just think it just woke the United team up a little bit and gone, come on, we've got to ensure we win this now.
No, absolutely. I wouldn't normally bring this up, but Connor's just put Kerris's mum dragged the team over the line with the "Come on, you Red" shout every few minutes. At which point Kerris has put, and I quote, "You put 50p in, and she does that. In which case, if that's every few minutes, she is rinsing you. 50p a go. Crikey, she must come out of there having pain.
No, I love my mum, but I find her hilarious because she's not like she'll join in with the chant, but she's not the person who's like singing all game. But like every kind of few minutes, she'll go, "Come on, United," or like, "Come on, you Reds." Like, but it is like ear splitting and it comes out of nowhere. And I love her for it, but I think it was one of the first times Connor had experienced it quite so close up.
Again, if it's annoyed Connor, I'm absolutely here for it. So well played, Kerris's mum. Carry on. Right, couple of things that we need to race through. Don't forget your player of the match poll, if you could, please. Chris has put, what did Rachel Williams actually do when she came on? Well, she was the only other person who had even a remotely decent shot on target, I think, in the second half with a header that was saved. Other than that, Andrew, it was all down to Toone to finally calm us all down and take us to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And again, it was yet another header and yet another visit assist. What did you make of that? And just how pleased were you when it finally went in? Because I was like, oh, thank God for that.
I was the same. I was like, the saves. We stepped up our attack, after, conceding. It's like, as I said, woke us up a little bit. So Visit getting past Stapleton down the right, crossed it. And I think Rachel made the run to near post, so it's pulling the defender away as well. And he just cleared the way for Toone, just put her head on it and head it home. So I was like, just felt, I think Ian next to me said, "Oh, we just need another goal and that's it, and we'll be comfortable." So I was like, finally. So I thought, it's game, set, and match now, and then saying we're through. So yeah, good header from Toone to already goals in the FA Cup this season already. But yeah, slightly relieved. I thought Sunderland got one back. I thought, please don't get another one because I don't want extra time. I suffered it with the men's the previous week against Fulham. I thought, don't want that, but so the girls made it comfortable in the end.
Yeah, Connor's sitting here already with his Statman C information. Only seen his second goal with their head. The other versus Brighton in October 2022, which I find funny now because it was immediately followed by this question from TJ. So which Connor then goes in a United shirt. So there we go. Then we don't see many Toone headers. So there you go. Quite a few points going on there. Charlie, for you, Toone netting 3-1, and I mean, this point, it was no more than United deserved, really, in the end.
Yeah, it put a little bit of gloss and a little bit of shine on it, didn't it? Another Muzzy Visit assist. 12 goal involvements from her this season, considering she was, according to the Spurs manager, Spurs' worst winger last season. So she's done pretty well for us. And another goal for Tissier.
As you're on that, sorry, I'll just add this into your answer. Because earlier on, Xavier put frustration of Celine constantly cutting in when so much space for the fullback. Did the same at Spurs, has to be instruction. So feel free to crack on what you're saying, but just add your answer to that.
I think we mentioned that. I might mention it in my head. Yeah, but there was an element of that. I think that stifled. Well, I think that stifled Mallard a little bit with not getting the early crossing. But the 2 or 3 times she did do it led to an assist because she puts a really good cross in. And like I said, there was a little bit more although I wasn't worried, there was a little bit more urgency from the players once Sunderland got their free goal. And Toone again quietly pulling the strings, I think, alongside with Miazar and got another goal. And it's becoming a bit of quite a prolific season for Toone now, especially when you consider the amount of time she had off for her injury and other bits and pieces. She's just maintaining that high level of performance, isn't she, regardless of who she plays and scoring goals for fun at the moment. So it's brilliant.
It really is. TJ, I don't know where you've been, but we'll roll out the explanation again. So Muzzy Visit. Charlie comes from a little place near Leicester, and Leicester had a brilliant player called Mustafa Izzet, and he was often called Muzzy Izzet. And obviously, Bizzet came in, and it reminded Charlie of Muzzy, not as a in terms of looks.
Yeah, it was birthed. It was birthed Muzzy Bizzet, wasn't it? It was birthed when pre-season, when we were really excited and we did our starting lineups. Do you remember?
Yeah,
that was where it was birthed. Everyone, if you want to go and watch it.
So there we go, and that was why Muzzy Bizzet came in. So we do very much enjoy a little bit of Muzzy on the show. Keris, anything for you on the Toone header?
It was a relief. I was stressed, and then it alleviated my stress. And I love seeing Toone score because you can always tell exactly how much I think at the moment, watch again, like I'm a sentimental fan, sue me. Watching her enjoy her football again at the minute has honestly been one of the best things about this half of the season. It feels like such a good sign just for the club generally. I think she has become so associated with the team that I really do think her kind of like return to form and from injury has just given, obviously the rest of the team will do well anyway. I'm not attributing it all to her, but I think it's just given everyone that lift. So seeing her kind of be able to get that other goal is excellent.
Absolutely, I would agree. Now, the semi-final draw has, of course, already taken place. We have been drawn against the noisy neighbours. We've already played them twice, gang. We beat them 4-2, obviously, in the league when we were away from home. We got beaten at home in the League Cup match 2-1. We've got to play them still now another 2 times. So that's a quadruplet of matches against Manchester City. Just a quick one round from all of you there. Do you feel confident? Obviously, they've just sacked Gareth Taylor. It could potentially lead to a new manager bounce. Of course, it could go the Manchester United way, in which case you get Ruben Amorim and it's more of a like a medicine ball and just doesn't bounce at all. But what's our thoughts? We're looking forward to City, and can we see Wembley on the horizon? And that's to anybody who wants to answer it.
I'm excited by the draw. It'd be nice to get back and beat them in their own backyard again, wouldn't it? So yeah, I think it's an interesting time for Man City. Having been a bit of a powerhouse, they've not lived up to expectation. I think this season, I think they were sort of the team that everyone was picking to challenge Chelsea at the top of the league. I mean, no one's massively challenging them, but we're the next closest, so no one must forget that. So yeah, I mean, it's a massive achievement. Three semi-finals in 3 years is just ridiculous, isn't it? I think generally, but I think we have a great chance. Yeah, I'd like them to put Kiara Keating in goal again. That'd be splendid. And I feel like potentially it'd be nice if we did the job on City, like I said earlier, and Liverpool somehow did a job on Chelsea. That would be amazing. That would be, I'd absolutely love that. Proper rivalry in a final would be amazing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would love a United Liverpool final at Wembley would be fantastic. The fact that we haven't had one in the women's game, United and Liverpool women have not played each other at Wembley. I would be really excited by that. It would be a moment for the club for sure. Yeah, is it the Joy Stadium or the Academy Stadium or whatever you want to call it, to whoever's asked? I think we can beat City, but I also do not know how they're going to come out of that. This could really go one of 2 ways, right? So for those of you who missed it, they sacked Gareth Taylor this afternoon, and Nick Cushing, who used to manage them, went over to New York City FC, was assistant coach, then head coach there, was left there in November, was linked with the Arsenal job, didn't take the Arsenal job. He's now back at City. I would not be that surprised if this goes well to see him have the job back permanently, even though for now it's interim. So that's City, all of which is to say we do not know like how they're going to look now. They've also got 4 consecutive games against Chelsea coming up, which is unreal, to be fair. I rarely have sympathy for them, but that's rough. So they've got 4 games against Chelsea. They've then got Brighton. They've then got us. So they could be very tired. But if they have this sort of weird new manager bounce, it'd be a hell of a bounce if it manages to get them through 4 games against Chelsea and Brighton and into a derby. Would be less of a bounce and more of a sort of rocket. But we don't know how they're going to play under Cushing, whether it will be the same as how they were before Gareth Taylor arrived, or whether he's going to try and shake things up. They've also got a lot of people who are in and out with injury. We don't know who of them will be back, so it's really hard to call. But I do think that we can beat them, definitely. We showed it at the Etihad. So, yeah.
It is interesting. I mean, Andrew, I'll throw you in on that one as well. But I just wanted to say somebody put here that Liverpool didn't fluke beating Arsenal. I mean, they didn't, but it was an own goal. So there is an element of that as well. But it's nice to see that there are people genuinely thinking Chelsea might lose a game this season. Andrew, crack on.
Yeah, I was going to say, it all depends on what shape and confidence City are in after those games against Chelsea as well. So hopefully, if they have a new manager bounces in those games and then it all falls away against us and we go and beat them and reach the final, it would be nice if it's a United-Liverpool final. But I just think if it's Chelsea, I just think if we beat them in the final, it'd be sweet revenge for a couple of years ago when Sam Kerr devastated us all by scoring the only goal for them to win it. So, but yeah, I'm confident going to the City game. But yeah, hopefully we'll the third Wembley final in a row would be nice to end the season with.
Indeed. Well, lots there that we have chatted about. There's been a couple of things in the starred section. We'll be closing the YouTube, but I say we'll be closing it. I hope at some point Connor is going to close the YouTube poll. If he doesn't, it could go on until tomorrow and we can name a winner that doesn't actually win. That would be unreal. I'd enjoy that sort of thing. Just a couple of things that have been thrown out there. Kevin Duff asking, will the preview be on Thursday? You're asking the wrong man, as the Condog would be in charge of that. But I can give you a little bit of an insight into the Quiffured one, insofar as he usually tends to go 2 days ahead where possible. So there is a very real chance he will aim for the Wednesday. But of course, if there is no Liverpool fan available, it may be either.
And also the men have got Sociedad on Thursday. So I would expect and guess, which I'm sure me Connor's going to pop up in the chat and prove me wrong. I would expect and guess that the preview would be on Wednesday.
So there we go. So that's what we would imagine. We'd imagine it's on Wednesday, but if not, then it'll be on Thursday, would be the general gist here. I still don't know what to say to these sorts of things. There is no news. I believe they've got till the end of March of things that I've been hearing and seeing in terms of being able to do it. But I mean, I will be gobsmacked, absolutely gobsmacked, if he is removed from his position before the end of this season. Unless he is outside of the top 3 and doesn't make a cup final, I can't see it happening. And you've got to take your moments. And am I the most ardent of Mark Skinner supporters nowadays? No, I am not. But can I find a decent argument really for getting rid of him at the moment? No, I can't. Like, we're in the middle of, again, one of our best seasons. So, the results may not be superb. And I didn't see this. Did anybody else see this in the news? Yeah. What's happened to
Kim Ratcliffe's just done. He's clearly been on the media today. So he's spoken to Gary Neville for the overlap, and he's spoken to the BBC. I've got it in front of me. He says the criticism of him for how he's spoken about the women's team is a bit unfair. Main focus on the men's team, because at the end of the day, that's what moves the needle at Man United. They make 640 million of the 650 million income. But the women's team wear the Manchester United brand, Manchester United logo. So in that sense, are every bit as important and are doing better than the men's team. Mark Skinner is doing a great job, and Mayor Tissier is doing a great job. Is the upshot of what he said. So he has pulled himself kind of back in a little bit. I think he's realised that his last comments to United We Stand about the women's team weren't particularly well received. Make of that what you will.
I find it incredibly interesting that the statement, if I've heard what you said properly, there was the men bring in 640 out of the 650 million, but the women's team is just as important.
Well, so he said he talks about the finance bit. So with my business background, you tend to focus on the bigger issues before you focus on the smaller issues. But the women's team wear the Manchester United brand and logo, so in that sense, they're every bit as important as the men's.
Okay.
Is what he said.
Fair
So
enough.
he's basically saying, if I'm reading it right, they are not as financially important, and that he won't apologise for saying that, but they're still important to the club. Is I think effectively his gist.
Okay. Well, then in that, I've got to be honest. You say it's another comment there, Sporty. I think on that one, I'm struggling to disagree with what Jim said there. Andrew, Charlie, anything you'd add there?
No, I think he also referenced it as like the bigger issues, and the bigger issue is the men's team are dreadful and the women's team are not. Therefore, they're not a massive concern in that regard. Now, we as avid Manchester United women supporters will always want more, won't we? We want them to be properly, legitimately challenging for the league and the Champions League every season, and we want it to happen as quickly as possible. It's not at the moment, but I don't think it's probably the first time when I think he didn't absolutely shame himself with what he said, if I'm being honest. I think he spoke fairly well this time.
Andrew, you sit and, as you said, travel up and down the country. You've been there. I mean, honestly, I on Friday I left work and we got a Spurs fan who's our caretaker, and he went, "So come on, then, Barry, can your lot beat the dirty Arsenal for us?" And I was like, "I doubt it, but you just never know." And then of course I'm sat around the table, eating the post-match meal, and we go and score against Arsenal, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you can't work out what's going on." Obviously, we revert to type and finishes 1-1, but I mean, he's not. The way he's worded it this time, I don't think we can really find too much fault in what he said this time.
No, I just think he said equally as important. So yes, the men's team is in a lot of mess and other off the field issues with them as well. So it's like he's got to sort it out. So, but at least he's now said a bit more about the women's team and saying they are equally as important. So as he said, we will focus on them, but it's not for the time being. It's the men's. But as Charlie just said, we always want more for Manchester United. So hopefully Sir Jim can deliver that. But hopefully we'll see in time.
Really, you've got to stop talking there, have you? Okay, that's fine. I am. Oh, he's done it again. Why has he done that? Don't do that. Oh my goodness. Right, people are still voting, Connor. Not being funny, sunshine. You've got to sort your life out here. Somebody's got to stop the count. Stop the count, for goodness sake. Throw in the towel. There we go. It's as tight as it could possibly be. I'm not kidding. That is quite something. So, you guys have chosen for your player match, not Leah Galton. 12% for Leah Galton. Ended up being 11 in the end there. Hinney with 19%. Mela Tissier got 32%, but the winner with 2. Thank you, Connor. Well done. Celine Bizet with 36%. Just the 4% in that. Connor, you often give us the old, this has been the biggest win ever. Is that the closest? 36 and 32. That is tight. I mean, maybe I think there might have been once where it was slightly closer than that. But yeah, that was quite something. So let's run round to you guys and see who you voted for. Keris, who would your vote have been for?
I did vote, and I voted for Mayor. I thought she was excellent again, as I said earlier. So yeah, she was my vote.
I voted for her as well.
I did. Go on, Charlie. Sorry.
I voted for her as well. I also voted for Tissier.
Smashing.
Strong leadership, got a goal, worked really hard. I think she's on a crest of a wave at the moment, and hopefully that wave will not crash until the end of the season. I think she's been brilliant again.
Yeah, we don't want it to be like a tsunami. Absolutely. Andrew Wall?
May for me, which is say another solid and consistent performance from our captain.
It's really interesting. I voted for Tissier as well. So that is a clean sweep from the panel.
If anyone ever thought we rigged the votes, here's your proof that we cannot rig the votes.
Absolutely. But clearly Celine's family's watching and they've sent it all across, and nephews, nieces, aunties, uncles, everybody's voted. And as a result, we are beaten. So well done, Team Bizet. Good job. Well played. But to be fair, 2 assists, and a superb little game. Absolutely brilliant. I just wonder, did the little own goal almost cause a bit of a drama? But yes, it was a clean sweep. And yes, take it. To the electrical college, don't take it there. Take it to the electoral college. That's much better for politics. So there we go. That is that. The person that was excluded in the end was Ella Toone. Ella Toone was mentioned. And it's interesting because the 4 that I mentioned were the 4 that made it to the player of the match poll, to which Connor responded, and I quote, "No Toone," with the eyes. And I'm like, if you wanted Toone, you probably should have mentioned that as something that you wanted. And he was like, well, no, I'm just saying because she won the Man United one. And I just found it interesting because Connor would have got rid of Leah Goulton, and 12%, 11%, whatever, might show that was a possibility. I won't tell you who Andrew wanted to get rid of, but I suggested Ella Toone, and it wasn't the winner. It wasn't that bad. And then Keris agreed with me about Tooney there. So there you go. And Charlie just couldn't be bothered to answer.
Oh, drop me in it.
How's business?
I'm gonna have Tooney fans getting upset at me now.
But they'll get upset more at me, so don't worry too much about that. So there we go. Listen, I've really enjoyed this evening. It's been an absolute delight. I'm going to have to stop it now because we've got places to go, people to see, things to do. I'm going to be over on Awful Wofo very shortly, running through, well, it was supposed to be a nice FA Cup show, but I'm sure that Gareth Taylor is going to dominate some of the proceedings there as well. So we look forward to seeing you over there, should you choose to come and join us. If not, come and see us Wednesday/Thursday for a Liverpool preview, if indeed Sir Connor of Roberts decides to do that. But aside from that, we're in another semi-final game, which, let's be honest, it's not that bad, really, is it? It's pretty damn good. So there we are. Thank you very much, Andrew. Cheers, Charlie. Cheers, Keris. It's been a pleasure. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to everything. Follow all of these wonderful people. Go follow Connor. Do all the stuff you need to do. And see you in 15. Night all.